gone and dropped the ball. I can see it fall from the blood red sky. We got to fight it all, and we race until we see the whites of their eyes. When the rain starts pouring down, revolution's such a lovely sound. I can see the shutters are closing in, and there's blood in the water now. So what you fighting for? This is where we draw the line. This is where we draw the line. I hear your battle cry. Let me hear your battle cry. Let me hear your battle cry. Let me hear your battle cry.
Oh, hi everyone, and welcome into Behind the Helm. If you want to watch this show live, tune in every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Make sure to leave a comment down below, and we'll respond live. As always, find it, like it, share it, follow it. But if you want to watch the show after the fact, head on over to YouTube or on Facebook, where the shows are cataloged, and you can see all the comments and notes and still watch the show and any bonus content. If you just want to listen to the show, head on over to Spotify, Apple Podcast, Audible, wherever you can find a podcast, and just search up Behind the Helm. Enjoy the show. Episode number 10. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you are here live, episode 10 of season 2. Day late, but not a dollar short. Sorry about the delay, but very special guest today, and we wanted to continue with what we've been talking about through this season. He's got some great information. So, unfortunately, for those of you who are in the military or anybody who is related to anybody in the military, you know that sometimes things happen. Things come up. We get recalled for this, that, or whatever. And we're going to talk about some of the stuff that he's been dealing with because of his interesting position at where he's at in the world. And I think that you can use your imagination and understand that he got a little busy. But he made time for us today, and he's been on the show before. If you've ever gone back and listened, his name is, he's a AOC, which is Aviation Ordnanceman, and he's a chief. He recruited with me. He's from Indiana, where I'm from. In fact, we graduated like the same year. We didn't know each other, though, two different schools. But it's just wild how things come together like that. So he's been on a few times. Big fan of the show, big friend of the show. And, he's going to talk to us today about unaccompanied orders. So if you remember, a couple weeks ago, we had a hospital corpsman chief who had came on, and we discussed GeoBatch or GeoBachelor or Geographical Bachelor and what that is, and kind of along those lines is what's called unaccompanied orders. So it's a little bit different. So we're going to go into that a bit. But like always, whenever I have somebody who comes on who's in the Navy, I like to show the video of their job that the Navy put out to give you kind of a brief idea of what it is that they do. For those of you out there that are listening to this podcast and not visually seeing it, obviously you can go on YouTube, you just search, Navy and then whatever rate, You can search Navy AO or Navy Aviation Ordnanceman. They're short videos, about a minute 43 seconds long. And even with the audio, you can hear what they're talking about, but you may not be able to visually see a lot of it, so you might have to go check that out. But for everybody who's watching live and watching this later, you'll be able to see it. So we're going to take a look at this video real quick. Then we're going to talk about where my friend Jeremy's at and show you a really quick Navy video about that. And then I guess we'll just have to talk to him. So let's go ahead and take a look at this video real quick here.
The recruiter described to me aviation ordnanceman as, I'm going to take one box of ammo and move it from point A to point B. And I said, I can do that. Basically, we're in charge of all weapons ammunition, the stowage and the handling of all ammunition for the aircraft. If it goes on the wing of a bird, then we handle it. You can be on a ship, such as myself, or you can be in a squadron. Those are our two main places. You're going to go down into the magazines on that ship. You're going to handle the ammunition there. You're going to build bombs. You're going to send it up to the flight deck, which is where we are now. We take all the ammunition and we move it to another ship. The other transfer is a conrep. Ships will go side by side. We'll link up with wires. It's kind of like a little telegraph. It just sends the ammunition over. I see myself with khaki pants leading the AOs. I want to go LDO, limited duty officer. My favorite memory for this job was Operation Odyssey Lightning. I built up my first bomb. I got to sign it, and it was on my birthday. Work hard, play hard, have fun, come in ready to learn.
Yeah, so that's Aviation Ordnanceman. Shout out, I see on Twitch. I kept saying Twitter a couple weeks ago. I don't know why. It's not even Twitter, it's X. On Twitch, Decaf Bubbles out there. You had asked a question, Decaf, a couple weeks ago about Bahrain and that you have to go unaccompanied. We're actually going to talk about that. I remembered. And Melissa out there saying, hey, I see you. Thank you, guys. I do want to give a big shout out to everybody. There for a while, I was pushing, trying to get over 1,000 followers on Facebook, and we didn't quite make it when I had wanted to. And I just realized the other day that we're over 1,000 now. So thank you, everybody who subscribes. If you're on YouTube, you can subscribe there too. Find it, like it, share it, follow it. Do all those algorithmic things to help people see this. I don't make a profit off this. I'm not monetized. I literally, from the bottom of my heart, when me and Petty Officer Levesque started this, it was, something to do that we enjoy doing. I've learned from it, and I've had now people, I had somebody recently reach out to me who'd been watching it and asked if I was still a recruiter, and I got them in touch with one. The goal is to get information out to people. And with this season, going over orders and things like that, I've had people who are in who have thanked me and said that it was nice to be able to hear that, see that, So that's the whole goal. I don't know if somebody I know or if it's just by happenstance, but like it told me that we got a new subscriber on YouTube, and his name is literally a man with a mustache. And I don't know if that's somebody I know that made that on purpose for me, or if that's actually somebody else and they just subscribe. So man with a mustache out there on YouTube, thanks, I guess. Well, I mean, seriously, thanks for subscribing. But anyway, moving forward. All right, so let's see. Oh, that's going to play again. We don't want that. So we said that my friend Jeremy, he is over in Bahrain. Where is Bahrain? It's over in the Middle East. Okay, it's over in the Arabian Gulf. And I was actually looking, for those of you who are listening to this later, if you just search on YouTube, it's Life in Bahrain. It's a very short 2-minute video from the Navy that kind of talks about being there. And then obviously Chief Snyder will come in. He'll give us a little bit more information about that. But I'm going to go ahead and show you that too, just so you kind of get an understanding of where exactly it is that Chief Snyder is. And, you know, kind of that'll go into the type of orders that he had and why he chose to do it that way and all of that. So let's go ahead and take a look at this video as well. And again, if you're listening, you'll be able to hear it. You won't be able to see the stuff as much. You should go check it out, but it's pretty cool. Let's take a look.
Being deployed here in Bahrain is an amazing experience. It's kind of like this oasis in the desert. They really like the lavish in Bahrain. It's an amazing location to be able to just splurge, to go on an expensive shopping spree. On the cultural side, the Bahrain island has changed so much over the past centuries. There's been so many different cultures and dynasties. There's an old Portuguese fort that you can tour. There's the beautiful Bahraini Museum. The Bahraini souk is amazing to go and see, kind of a snapshot of history. The same vendors who have been selling spices for the last 10 years, their family have been selling spices in that same location for hundreds of years. And it's really cool to get to see not only the Bahraini culture, but how they've kind of absorbed and become a melting pot of all of the other cultures as well. Living in Bahrain, it's helped me sharpen all of the tools that I had growing up and really find my niche. I think it's really important to travel just for your own well-being and understanding, because I don't think that you can grow as a person without experiencing. You have to do and absorb and see.
So, you know, just a little video that shows a little bit about Bahrain, and that's where our friend is, Chief Snyder. So just to give you a little bit about what we're talking about, where he's at, what his job is, but we'll also be talking about his orders. So without further ado, make sure you find a like, share, follow. Make sure you share this feed, whatever platform, whether it be Facebook, whether it be YouTube, whatever. You know, get this information out there. I see a bunch of likes coming in. Bam, bam, bam. Do it. I like it. Hit that button. Smash that like button. Love it. Smash the love button too, man. That's cool. I love you. It's all good. All right, so let me go ahead and bring in our special guest, if I can find him. Bring in our special guest, Chief Jeremy Snyder. Whoa. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Hey, and you remembered to unmute yourself. That's great. That's wonderful, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good, man. Long time no see, man. It's been a minute.
While.
Been a minute.
Been a while.
We recruited with each other for a bit. You were already a chief. I went through chief season. You know, you were somebody that I talked to a lot because, you know, you joined younger than me. I joined at 26. Like I said, I don't know if you heard me or not, but like we graduated the same year, both from Indiana.
Oh.
You from up Plymouth area. I'm a little farther south, just kind of crazy. And you see that a lot in the Navy, right? Like, because people will join later in life, sometimes you have people who are, you know, your age group, but like in a different rank. So you have your rank group, and then you have like your age group too. It's kind of, you know, it's interesting because I think that me and you got along even before I made chief, just like from that, like, you know, we had that same kind of mentality outside of military, you know what I mean? So it's kind of cool. Got a couple comments in there. Your mom's out there saying, hi, son. You know, I'm sure everybody
Hi,
misses
Mom.
you back home. Melissa, I think it's Ro now? Runnow?
Bruno.
Yeah. Said, hey, Chiefs. See you out there. Thank you. So, yeah, man, you're over there in Bahrain. Oh, and Dana Judy said, hey, Jay.
Hey, everyone.
There's the people you know, I'm sure. So you're over there in you're an AO, aviation ordnanceman, and oh yeah, so that's your wife. That's her maiden name, huh?
Correct.
Oh yeah, she just said I'm just the wife, like no big deal. Like oh, I didn't realize that was her. Like, I mean, she was at my wedding even. Like, ooh, my bad. Ooh, sorry about that. Anyway, wow, I got off track real quick there. Oh, so you're in Bahrain. You're an aviation ordnanceman, and you know we've watched that video. We've kind of broke down that video before, and you know the guy right in the beginning says the recruiter said like you basically have to pick up a box of ammo over here, move it over there, and I was like I can do that. I mean I think it's a little bit more in depth than that, but I think the one thing that he does say is you know you can be ship's company, or you can be squadron. So where you're attached with. I think people don't realize that when you're on an aircraft carrier and you see it with all these planes, when they pull into port, like back home, the squadron's not there, right? Like they're at the airfield.
Correct.
So the AOs who work squadron, they are with the squadron, like they're at the airfield, right?
Correct.
Have you always? I know you've done squadron. Have you always been squadron, or have you done both?
I've done both. I did a ship's company tour on the USS Abraham Lincoln for just a little over a year. So.
Oh, I remember. They needed a chief or something, right? And you'd went to that.
They did, yeah.
Now with that experience and being squadron, which one would you personally? And before he says this, I just want to preface again, okay? Yes, we are both active duty Navy chiefs. These are our opinions and our opinions alone. They do not reflect upon our commands or the Navy. These are just our opinions. Take it for what it's worth. I'm not UCMJ. Don't send me to mass. Anyway, would you rather be squadron or ship's company?
Coming up in the Navy, I came up in the squadron, so that would definitely be my number one preference.
Mm-hmm.
And if you talk to ship's company guys and gals, they'll tell you the same thing, I'm sure, you know, just because that's the Navy they were brought up in, and you tend to like that a little bit more. I did enjoy my time on the ship. It was a great experience, but for me, I really enjoy the squadron community.
And when you're, and just so everybody understands, like when you are squadron, like you still get to go on ships. You have the opportunity to travel with the squadron, correct?
Correct, yeah. So depending on what kind of squadron you're in will determine whether or not you go to a ship.
I actually, because I don't have it all on my desk because, you know, it's a different setup, but you had given this to the Eagle. You remember?
Oh, wow, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, shined it up. I still got it, man. I keep all the stuff. It's just in a cabinet behind me because right now I don't have the room with the new setup, but I found it. I still have it all. And so when we're talking about ordnance, is this ordnance?
Well, it was. It was a 20 millimeter round that was fired out of an F-18.
Fun. How fast? All right, so it's 20 millimeter. Now, on the ship, we have Sea Whiz. I'm an Aegis guy. That's 20 millimeter.
Yep.
We shoot 20 millimeter tungsten rounds, blah, blah, blah. This, really fast. We don't got to go into all those numbers, but understand that this is one round. And, you know, you're talking, it's probably about like that, right? With the, probably about close.
A little bit longer with the projectile.
Yeah. How fast can F-18 shoot these bad boys? What's the rate of fire?
Around 4,000 to 6,000 rounds a minute cycling rate.
That's insane, right? So this is ordnance. This is ordnance. But even because he said anything on the ship. So I'm a SMARMS marksmanship instructor. So we're talking SMARMS, right? Like the 9 millimeter. Is that ordnance?
Sure.
Yeah, right. So basically anything goes boom is ordnance. But you get to play with not just little stuff, but the big boy stuff, right?
Especially out here.
Yeah. So, yeah. for anybody out there, if you've been watching the news at all recently, let's say Red Sea area, CNN, a lot of stuff going on right now in that part of the world. And obviously, I've stayed in touch with Chief Snyder. He's over there in Bahrain, and just where you're at, I'm sure that's made you busy a little bit, right? You've been moving around, having to help out. I mean, you're kind of support.
Yeah, it definitely has been busy in the region the past several months since I would say probably since October, since the attacks happened on Israel. Things have really kicked off, and it just kind of escalated from there, for lack of a better word, throughout the region. So we just kind of play it day by day out here. So
now that can be scary for some people. I know a lot of your family's watch. I'm sure you keep in good contact with them. Patty, which I'm assuming is either your wife's sister or mom. I can't see the picture, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
That's my mother-in-law.
Okay, yeah, she said, hey, and that they miss you, and Susan out there said Uncle Steve is watching. So you got a lot of family. I know they're missing you, man, because you've been over in Bahrain for, gosh, what, almost 2 years, 18, something like that?
September of 22. So
yeah, a year
18.
and a half, pretty much, right? So it's been a minute, and not to dive in too personal, but like it comes in a little bit with the orders thing, right? Like being that far away from home, it's not an easy trip. It's not like, I'm in Virginia, home is Indiana, that's still kind of long, but I can get home. In that time, have you been able to go home? Or is that not real feasible?
Yeah, folks don't tend to fly back to the States as much as, as far as taking leave at their home of record, if you will, just because of the cost. And there's not always a great window of time to take off. Now, people do take leave out here. And a lot of times people will take leave locally, or they'll fly to Europe or something like that.
Because it's cheaper, right?
It is cheaper. Yeah, a plane ticket to the United States from here is it's not cheap.
Not economically sound, like
no.
So and that raises what we're going to talk about. So obviously, aviation ordnanceman, that's your job. We talked about that a bit, and that you're in Bahrain. I know I sent you that little short video beforehand. Obviously, like right now, we think of Middle East and like the stuff that's going on, and I do want to say, I'm sure your family worries about you, and being over that way, everybody does with what's going on and stuff, but let's be honest, like it's one of those things that we signed up to do. You know what I'm saying? So I think sometimes as a sailor, when we set idle, it's almost like, man, what am I doing? Why did I do this? I wanted to do something, So right now, like you're actually, let's say, like doing your job more of what you, kind of expected to be doing, right?
No, right. Yeah. When I got the orders out here, I knew I was going to be, on a support side of things, helping the fleet out here and the embarked units and the deployed units on the ground and everything like that. But I didn't think that it, things would be like the way they are since they haven't really been in the past few years. Things were kind of starting to slow down. In the region, if you will, not slow down completely, but slow down significantly compared to where it was during, OIR or, OIF and everything like that.
Well, and just so everybody knows, like, there is a lot of stuff that we can't, in the knowledge of, where I'm at with Aegis stuff and where Chief Snyder's at, that we can't talk about, we can't put it out. But what I can tell you is know that, the safety of our sailors and of our crews is top of the line. This stuff is happening right now. And I will tell you that right now, like we're getting updates in school of, what we're trying to do and how to do it. And like, there are people, we call them the 10-pound brains, I think in the Navy, 10-pound brains, like sitting somewhere that trust when I say we do everything we can to do it safely, efficiently, and do what we need to do to make sure that every single sailor comes home safe. Sailor, soldier, airman, any of that, but always make sure to reach out to anybody in the military that you know, because it can be stressful. So reach out and talk to someone, always. So you're there, you're doing that, but you're on orders, and that's the bread and butter of what we've been talking about this season, right? Is moving and the different types of orders and all these things that are going on. So I really want to get into that with you, and kind of how that works. So 2 weeks ago, we were talking about Geo Bachelor, which I believe you've done that before too, haven't you?
I have,
right?
yes.
So you're familiar with that. Like we said 2 weeks ago, for those of you who remember, Geo Bachelor, Geographical Bachelor, it's all the same thing, is voluntary. You're choosing to do that. But the other side is what's called unaccompanied orders. You have accompanied orders and unaccompanied orders. Accompanied orders are where, like, when I got orders, say here to Dahlgren, it said accompanied. It had myself, my son, my wife. It has your dependents on it. Unaccompanied orders are what they sound like. I mean, they're unaccompanied. It's for the service member, not the family. Now, that changes some things, right? We talked about it a couple weeks ago. It changes pay and how things are looked at. And in fact, from that same website, PCS Grades, I pulled up a little bit about unaccompanied orders and like what that looks like, and we're going to talk about a little bit of it. But before we do, again, you're here on episode 10 of Behind the Helm Season 2. Yes, we're a day late. Hopefully you guys are still out there. Had some things come up, but here we are, right? We're here with special guest, Chief Jeremy Snyder. We're talking about unaccompanied orders. Make sure you find it, like, share it, follow it. Smash that like button, share this feed wherever you are. So, unaccompanied orders. So when you decided, because you chose to go to Spain, these were kind of special, or not Spain, sorry, Bahrain. These are kind of like special orders, right?
They are. There's not a bunch of them floating around out there. This isn't. It's just not a particular area where there's tons of ordnance types out here. Besides, like I work at Naval Forces Central Command. We have numerous task forces out here, and some of those have billets for ordnancemen, but there's just not a lot of them. So I actually got pretty lucky when I got selected for these.
Yeah, and it's one of those type of orders. Actually, when I say, like, hey, he chose to do this, and it might seem odd, but like, it also, like he said, he got very lucky to get the orders, because you have to be very good at what you do. Like, because there aren't very many, they are looking for, what's the line from Men in Black? Looking for the best of the best of the best, sir, with honors. So, but we had a question a couple weeks ago, and because you've been out there in Bahrain for a little bit, I want to go ahead and hit this question that we had from Twitch. Somebody had said, when they were talking about like Geo Bachelor, stuff like that, that when you go to Bahrain, all orders to Bahrain are either unaccompanied or like Geo Bachelor. And I don't think that's true. You can be stationed in Bahrain with family, correct? There are certain orders you can.
Absolutely, yeah. It just depends on what unit you're going to, and basically like what the mission set of that unit is. But yeah, I mean, there's only so many. So to put it in simple terms, they can only have so many families out here. So typically, if somebody has a family, they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that your orders are written as accompanied. Right. Obviously, but not all the sailors and Marines that come out here are married, so obviously they'll get unaccompanied orders. But for the families, and with the high cycling rate of people PCSing out here, because orders are typically shorter here than they are at other places in the Navy, anywhere from 12 to 18 months. So they're able to get those families that want to come out here. Yeah. Most of the time, I would say more times than not. but in my case, after talking about it with Melissa, we decided to keep the family at home was the best option for us. And for me, it's not, it wasn't about, you know, the pain of moving the family out here. It was just about the uncertainties in the Middle East. That was just my own personal.
Right, right. Just not knowing, and by the way, just I need you to do this. Melissa said that Matt, it said, hey, Dad, this is Matt. Can you give him a shout out? Give a shout out to Matt.
I want to give a shout out to my buddy Matt. He's home sick from school today. I hope you feel better, buddy.
Well, school would be over anyway, so he probably feels fine now since
Oh,
school's over.
yeah.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. Yeah, Matt. Hope you get to feeling better, man. So unaccompanied orders. So I just want to read this real quick from this. Now we talked about Geo Bachelor and like the financial. We kind of got into all that. All right. And before we totally dive into this, I kind of forgot something like just about Bahrain. We watched that video, and I want to bring up a couple of things and just get your take because you've been over there for a while. Now, I've been over there, and some of the stuff that female in that video was saying, right? As far as like kind of the lavish, I would agree. It's a really good place to, kind of go a little shopping spree, but there's some stuff that's expensive, a few things that aren't. You're real close to Dubai. You can get to Dubai pretty easily. I don't know, was there anything from that video that really stood out to you?
Yeah, so what you're seeing in that video is really just the northern part of the island.
Right.
Bahrain is not a big place. You get to the southern part, the central and southern part of the island, it's pretty much all desert. It's still it's still in development. But yeah, Bahrain is not very big. If I compare it when I talk to people, I compare it to, it's really about the size of Indianapolis from north and south. If
Not
you want to
Indiana,
get a good idea.
Indianapolis. Okay.
Indianapolis.
Not
correct.
Indiana. We're talking just inside 465.
Correct. Yeah. Bahrain can fit over Indianapolis basically,
mm-hmm.
and it's about that size. So that kind of puts it in perspective because when you see Bahrain on a map, it's very small.
Yeah, and sometimes it's kind of hard to understand like when you're looking at countries. A couple other things I noticed that there is a lot of, and when I say English influence, I mean like England. Like it showed people playing cricket. Not like they're just out. It almost looks like in a kind of parking lot. So there's a lot of English. Some
influence.
Culture influence, yeah. And then the other thing that I just want to point out, because I'm sure people ask this all the time, there was a point where it showed her, she's a Navy sailor, and she was putting on like the head wrap and stuff. For the life of me, I can't remember what it's called. But is that like even for somebody like, let's say if you're a sailor, you're a female sailor over there, like, do you have to wear that out, or is it like certain places? How does that work?
No, so like certain places, like if one to, if a female was to go and visit the mosque,
mm-hmm.
the mosque is going to ask that they, cover themselves up just out of respect for the
culture,
the cultural,
for the religion, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But typically, service members, men and women alike, don't have to walk around, covered up like that. We have our, our dress code and everything like that, and
right.
how to dress out in town and everything like that. But which is another conversation. But we're about to start Ramadan here.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
On Sunday evening. So, they ask that people dress a little even more moderately,
right.
If you're going to be out in town amongst the population, just out of respect for their religion and culture. So,
and it's, and I think that's big. That's the thing that we do get to see in the Navy a lot, is that culture, and like agree with it or not. If you know what I'm saying, right. Like even when we visit somebody else's home, we tend to respect that. Like if I walk in your house and you're like, nah, man, we don't wear shoes in the house, I'm gonna take my shoes off. You know what I mean? So when we go to other countries, we take time, like one, if you're stationed there, but like even when we pull in, we take time to have briefs about it and like, so that we know. And I do know over there, you always see, not just in Bahrain, because I've been to Bahrain, but in the Middle East, like, people are always in long sleeves and this and that. And like, why would you want to do that? It's hot. Yeah, it's really hot. And in fact, that's why you wear long sleeves, and long pants. You don't wear shorts and tank tops. I mean, you can, but it's going to be a real bad day. It actually makes it better, which is wild, right? Really, really wild. And there's something else that's really cool over there that me and you had talked about, that maybe we sent something to. We're not going to say what, but there's a World Trade Center there. I think people don't realize that that's there.
There is, yeah. It's pretty cool. If I go to the top floor of my building, I can actually see it from here. It's
From there.
two kind of oddly shaped towers, and it has like large fans in between it that power the building. They're wind powered basically, so it's pretty cool. You can jump on Google and check it out. But yeah, the buildings here and the architecture here in the city are really neat.
What's your favorite, real quick, because I'm going to pull that up actually, but what's your favorite thing that you've seen over there? And then we're going to get into the orders part here.
Favorite thing I've seen. I don't know. I don't think I really have a favorite thing I've seen so far, because I've just been here for a while and previously been here.
It all kind of starts to blend together.
Yeah, it's kind of like you've been to one place, you've been to them all kind of thing.
I'm going to pull this over your face real quick. You'll be able to see it. Let's see. Reaction with mic. Yeah, with mic. All right, so here's some images just to show you guys what we're talking about. This is the Bahrain World Trade Center. Oh, come on, pull the picture up. And you can see the towers here, and then it has these three. These are actually bridges, aren't they? If I remember correctly.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm not 100%.
I can't remember, but they have these wind turbines on it, which power the building. Now, just like our World Trade Center, a lot of people don't understand. Like at the base of this, like in this, it's a complex. Like these are huge. It's a complex, so there's like shopping and all kinds of stuff. This isn't just like one company or something. You know what I mean?
Right. Several office buildings, different businesses, stuff like that.
Yeah. Lauren Hetberg's out there, said, "Hey, long time no see. Good to see you out there, Lauren. I'm sure. I know you haven't seen Jeremy in a long time, but she's like officially. I don't know if you saw on Facebook. Like she's like officially like getting out of the Navy and everything stuff.
Oh, she's on that retirement.
Yeah, she's on that retirement stint. She has like official date. I think it's like I don't remember. She'll probably put it in here, but I think it was like September she'd posted it. But anyway. Yeah, here on Behind the Helm, episode 10, season 2. We're now going to talk about unaccompanied orders. We're kind of talking about Bahrain and just some stuff there and what's been going on with Chief Snyder. So on PCS grade, just to go over a couple things and what this says, I'm just going to read this kind of opening thing. Unaccompanied orders, BAH, entitlements, and family options. Here's what it says. Honey, I have news is how the conversation always starts. But what happens when the news of a military move involves an unaccompanied tour? Across military branches, service members receive unaccompanied orders to Korea, Japan, Guam, and the Middle East, among other locations. It can really be anywhere. If you or your spouse recently received unaccompanied orders, you have a few options, including joining your spouse on their unaccompanied tour. However, this isn't always possible, and some spouses simply choose not to join their service members. What are the options, and what does this look like? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. So, you got unaccompanied orders, and what that means is your family wasn't on your orders to, like, be with you. But actually, me and you were talking, originally they were going to be. right? And you guys kind of chose like, hey, we're not going to do this. So how did that work?
Yeah, so when the detailer actually called me up and told me, hey, you got selected for these orders. They're 18-month orders, um, accompanied. Um, and after talking about it, we decided like probably not the best idea, just for the uncertainties, moving the kids and everything across the halfway across the world and everything like that. It's like the kids are established there in Indiana. It'd probably be better just
Mm-hmm.
to stay there. And like I said earlier, due to the uncertainties of the Middle East, I wasn't completely comfortable with it, as a lot of other families aren't comfortable with it. But there's a lot of families that are comfortable with it. There's tons of families out here. Um, but in the grand scheme of things, could be called upon to leave at a moment's notice. You know what I mean? If things do get out of hand out here.
Yeah. So, like you said, there's been a big uptick in things, and we can't really necessarily put anything out, but like you've had to. It's not like you're just sitting in Bahrain. Like you've had to go to your support. So you've had to go to a few other places to support different, and then when you're somewhere like that with a family, it can be kind of hard, right? So there are different options, when it comes to unaccompanied orders. And I think the biggest difference when it comes to like geo-batch compared to like unaccompanied orders is how you look at finances, right? Like that's
Sure.
I think that's the huge difference. Could you have been, on accompanied orders and just went over there, not had your family come, stayed on accompanied orders? Yes, that is what geo-batch is. But then what does that do financially? We talked about it 2 weeks ago. It would make it very hard, especially with you and what you have lovingly named the herd, the Snyder herd. Okay, that's Chief Snyder and all of his what do you have now, 26 kids or something like that, and
Give or take.
give or take a few. But yeah, if you had 26 kids, Melissa that's wow. Anyway, so it changes because of how that income comes in. We've talked about basic allowance for housing. We've talked about these things, and then you wouldn't get that for where they're at, and it really
Sure. Yeah.
makes things
Yeah.
weird.
I mean, if your family came out here with you, you would lose, your your CONUS, continental United States. You would lose your BAH where you were located previously. But not to jump ahead, but I know we're going to talk about
Go
it.
ahead.
But with the family being back home and me being out here, I'm entitled to what's called OHA, which is Overseas Housing Allowance,
Mm-hmm.
which basically pays my rent for my apartment out here because it's really expensive. So the Navy provides me extra money to pay for my apartment out here just because there's no facilities where we are for people, for everybody to stay on base.
Right.
So we have to live out in the local populace. So that's why they supplement us with extra money. That's just one of the pays we get supplemented out here.
And the difference is like when we talked about it with GeoBatch, right? So like if you were on accompanied orders, you would be entitled to OHA there, right? Wherever you're at. However, right? You're getting that. You have to be able to live somewhere there, right? And then your family is paying for whatever they have where they are too. So it can become a financial burden, especially when you're talking about like multiple member family home, and then where you're at, like you said, is it's weird because when you think of Bahrain, people think of the Middle East. They think of like desolate, the stuff you see, but it's not. Like Bahrain is very are there parts of it like that? Sure, just like everywhere. But like I don't know, think of Bahrain like little Dubai. Like maybe not that lavish, but I'm just like they have the World Trade Center there. Like it's like it said in that video. It's pretty lavish over there. It's not cheap.
Definitely not. No, Bahrain's it has one of the highest exchange rates in the world under, it's like right under Kuwait,
Mm-hmm.
as far as their monetary value over here. Their dollar, if you will, is worth quite a bit over here.
Yeah, I have some somewhere, but what's their dollar called?
The dollar here is called the Bahraini dinar. I actually have one right here if you want to.
I think I do too. Central
Oh,
Bank
no.
of Bahrain.
No, I don't have one. I have a Saudi Rial. That's from Saudi Arabia. I have one of these.
Let's see, what do I got here? What's this one? 5 dirhams. This one.
Oh, that's from UAE.
Yeah, well, I've got a couple different ones. Hold this one up. This is UAE Central Bank.
Yep.
Oh, so there's that.
5 dirhams.
Uh-huh.
That's
like
a little
20
over
bucks.
$1. That's a little over $1.
I know. And then I do have from the Central Bank of Bahrain 1 dinar. It'll let it.
So that's $2.65 USD.
Yeah. See, look at that. I'm just setting on
Oh,
it.
nice.
You know what I'm saying? And
Oh,
what
yeah.
you can't see, you're not going to be able to see it on here. I don't think. No, but I can see it as the light shining through. There's actually on this one, there's a watermark right here. That's the face of. I don't know. I don't think he's still the.
He was the king.
Yeah, he's not now though, because this is older. I can't read it. So anyway, let me pull you back up. But yeah, so we call it funny money. But some places we go, the exchange rate's good, and over there, UAE stuff like that. A lot of times it was a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, UAE's not too bad, but Saudi Arabia's the exchange rate's pretty good for us. Our dollar's worth more, but when you're talking about kind of losing on the dollar a little bit, Kuwait and Bahrain, it's definitely a little bit more expensive.
I have a kuna right here. I don't know where this is from.
That's from Croatia. They don't use that anymore.
Yeah,
They
Croatia.
switched over
that's right.
They switched over to the euro pretty recently.
10 kuna.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just the paper money because most places use we're like the only ones that really still use paper for most denominations. Let me see. I'm gonna dig. Because most places it's coin for the smaller denominations, and I think some of this is over there too. Yeah, because this is Bahrain right here too. Kingdom of Bahrain, and this is 100 something.
It's 100 fils, so 10 of those make 1 dinar.
There you go. 10 of these to
Yep.
make $2.60. Is that what you said the exchange is right now?
$2.65.
And then I got some other stuff. I thought there's kuna. The kuna, they don't use that anymore, but it's actually really cool because
Yeah.
they have like animals on them, different animals on them. Really cool.
Yeah, you want to hang on to those.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, I always will. But they switched over to the euro, which the euro, same thing. Bigger bills have it's paper, but most of it is coin.
Yep, the €1 coin.
Yep, I think it's like 1, 5, and 10, but like it's not really, yeah. Kuna, I have a lot of kuna. Huh. Anyway, yeah, just talking about the money differences and stuff's kind of a interesting thing. So, yeah, so unaccompanied orders, getting way off track, right? Let me pull that back up. So, financially, way off in left field. We're back, episode 10, Behind the Helm, season 2, unaccompanied orders. So financially, if you were on accompanied orders, right, you would only have that, so forth, so on. Now, with unaccompanied, though, what ends up happening, like you said, you're getting OHA, but because you're unaccompanied, you're getting OHA because there's no place for you to live, so you have to be able to live. So they're giving you money for that. However, you're getting BAH, as you should, for where your family lives so that you can continue to provide a household for them.
No, correct. yeah. Yeah, so we still get BH to pay for everything there in Indiana, and then I get the OHA out here.
Mm-hmm.
And then since my family's not out here, I also get what's called family separation allowance,
Yep.
which is a pretty standard thing across the DoD. It's a flat rate.
Yeah, and you can say it. It's out there. It's not like it's a secret. If you want to, you don't have to. Anybody can look it up.
Yeah, family separate. I think it's like an extra $250 a month.
Mm-hmm. And the
family separation allowance.
You just have to be separated from your family. So just so everybody is aware, you just have to be separated from your family for 30 days to receive that. If it's going to be more than 30 days. So like when this goes into a lot of the stuff that people don't realize that we have. So like when I'm on the ship, if I go on a deployment or if I go just on a 3-month underway, I'm going to get that as well because you are separated from your family. They can't come with you. You fill out paperwork for it, and you're going to receive that for that time. So, again, it sucks being away from your family. The military understands that. They do what they can, right? And that's a big difference, that family separation, because if you are geo-batching, since it's voluntary, you're not going to get that. So these are like some of the financial differences, major financial differences. Whoops, wrong one. Major financial differences that kind of come up with that, right? Let's see. What I'm trying to think what else, because it's weird because those are the major differences with those type of orders, right?
Well, and then you also have, sorry not to cut you off,
No,
but
go
you
for
also
it.
have, not just Bahrain, but overseas locations, you'll have what's called a COLA, cost of living allowance, depending on where you're at to kind of fill the gap, because food's really expensive out here. We're out in the desert, so they don't exactly grow a lot of fruits and vegetables here. So
No.
everything has to get imported, and that's expensive, and that's where the COLA comes into play to help you compensate for like food and stuff like that and other things.
A lot of fried camel spiders.
I haven't seen any camel spiders out here.
That's what
Not here.
No, but that's what everybody always asks, right? Camel spiders are scary, man.
They are. They get big.
They're gross.
If you've never seen one, jump on Google and Google a camel spider. And
the problem is I have it pulled up. Okay, this is bad. Okay, so I will tell you, there is a picture where service members it looks like they're holding one out in front of them, and that is fake. It's like huge. That's fake news. But let's see, reaction with Mike. Let me pull it back up. I've heard stories of people taking these and putting them against like a scorpion, see who will win because they'll fight each other.
Yeah.
I didn't see any when I was over there either. But this is a camel spider. Get out of here. All right, so there's that, just to show you, like, the fact that they
do exist.
And this, oh man, it's not gonna pull up. Whatever. This right here, this picture you can see right here, this is a real picture. That is a real camel spider on somebody's hand. They get big. They're scary things. And camels are gross and they're mean. Just want to put that out there. So if you didn't know. All right, so the little differences like that. Now, what about options for your family, right? What can your family do? And obviously, your situation, they move back home, right? And the options that it talks about here is, even with unaccompanied orders, your family can move with you. They can. It's an option.
Yeah, I mean, if for whatever reason, when I negotiated orders out here and I got selected for them, if my orders were unaccompanied, chances are I probably could have got them with.
Overseas, it's a little different. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have there's you get them enrolled in basically what's command sponsored, to where you would go down that path and then ultimately get your family out here, and the funding would have to be approved to get them out here, and then your pay increases and everything like that would start.
And if it's on unaccompanied, again, another big financial thing difference is when you're on accompanied, like normal orders. I don't want to say normal because unaccompanied are normal too. But when you're on accompanied orders, it's allocated for your move for your family, for travel. It changes the travel rate, pay rate, stuff like that, right? So if you're on unaccompanied orders, and your family chooses to, well, they're unaccompanied, but we're gonna go, right? You have to understand that you may be pulling some of that financial. It's going to be on you.
Yeah, at least at the beginning, but that's definitely something, if you're on unaccompanied orders and you decide to, like, oh, I want my family out here, that's definitely something you have to talk to your unit, your command about before you go and do something like that, especially over in this region of the world. There you have to have, authorization to enter the country, and you have to have a, special passport and everything like that. So it's not something you can show up and, all right, I'm here.
Yeah, right. So that's one option. Another option is to stay in place. Like, I want to use my situation as an example. Okay, let's say before we left Indiana, no, because we were in Indiana. If Claire and I were living off base right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here in Virginia, and let's say I had unaccompanied orders to Spain, which I could have gotten, by the way. It would have cut it short by 12 months, but they wouldn't have been able to come with me. You can choose to stay where you're at. Now, that's not going back home. Claire's from Indiana, but maybe we're established here, and she just chooses to stay here. That's an option too, to stay where you're at. The option, like what your family did, was move back home. Yes, you guys were in Indiana. We were there in Indiana, but they still moved because you were in Lafayette. But your family moved back like home, which is still Indiana.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a hop, skip, and a jump up the road. So
yeah, not like
twice, going across, states, which some people do that.
Mm-hmm. And then the last one, and this one's unique to the situation. It says you can PCS to the next location. Unaccompanied orders, to me, I don't see that. That would be more like if you're TDY, like if you have, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah. Temporary duty somewhere where it's less than, it has to be, is it six months to be able to PCS family, at least minimum?
I would have to double check on that. I don't know many folks that have done that, but like you said, I think that's more like a TDY, or maybe you have to finish up a sea tour or something, and then your family's going to go ahead and go to your next. Yeah. Go to your next.
I mean, we kind of did that. Like, I moved Claire here, but I still had a school to go to down in Virginia Beach. But, I wouldn't see that with, like, because those aren't really unaccompanied orders because they were part of accompanied orders. However, there may be certain situations where, all right, well, you're going to be unaccompanied. I'm not going to sit here and wait. What I'll do is move to the next location because this says PCS. Maybe prior to getting the PCS, like, where you're going, and your family goes ahead and moves to that location, and then once the PCS catches up, then you just, so there are options. And the thing is that it's a personal choice. It's a personal option. And not myself or Chief Snyder is going to be able to tell you what the right option is for you. He decided that what the right option was for him and his family was for them to move back home to where they're from in Indiana, and for him to take these orders to finish up his time, to push himself to the what we call the Lauren Hetberg zone, the DD 214 retirement zone that she's getting to, which, by the way, she said the August 2nd is her ceremony, and her official retirement date is September 30th. So that, this year, that's when getting to that zone to be back home with his family. Now, that might not be you. You really got to sit down and financially look at everything, discuss it with your family, understand what you're getting into and what you have coming up. because if it's a move like what Chief Snyder did, you know, you're not going to move your family to Bahrain and a couple months later be like, we don't really like this. you you know, we'll just move you back home. It doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? So you got to really look at it.
Yeah, if one were to do that, I mean, if you're out there on accompanied orders and you're like, you know what, this really isn't working out, or we don't really like it out here, we're going to move back. Well, that's fine, but you're going to put your family on a plane and you're coming out of pocket for the plane ticket,
Yeah. It's going to be expensive.
So,
That's what I've always said, like with this, like, hey, look, I'm going to Spain. What other company anywhere is going to not only send you to a different country, pay you to move there, give you extra money for being there, move your family there, move all of your stuff, your pets, your car, all your household goods, let you work there, and then when you're done, move all of your stuff back and it not cost you anything. Good luck finding a company like that. But when they move you, it's on the Navy's terms. You know what I mean? Like you just said, like if you're like, I don't really like that. Well, your husband or wife or significant other is on orders. So you can go back home if you want, but we're not paying for it. So, a lot to think about. I think the big thing is financially. So, if you really had to kind of sum it up, in your opinion, being somebody who's done geobatch, being somebody who's done now unaccompanied orders, outside of the legality that literally one is voluntary and one is kind of not, kind of sum up the big major differences, some of which we've already hit, but just
I mean, the geobatch really deals with just while you're in CONUS, you know what I mean? Geobatching, for instance, when I was stationed in Nevada, you can, really, when you want to take a leave, you just hop on a plane and leave, you know what I mean? And fly to wherever in the States you want to go to. It's a little bit harder logistically out here to just be able to, I'm going to hop on a plane and go back to the U.S. That's many, 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 many hours of travel and planning, because, there's only so many of us out here and you just can't take off whenever you want. So leave has to be planned accordingly with, the rest of the folks you work with out here, because there's just not many of us,
right,
out here. So you got to make sure everybody's covered, and
right, especially with the job set, right? Not very many people. It's you lose one person, that can affect the day to day for everybody else.
100%.
And I think you made a good point too. The fact that you are what we call OCONUS, outside of the continental United States, right? Changed it, because like a couple weeks ago when we talked to Chief Runyon, he's doing geobatch, and he is in Carolina, and his family is up in Norfolk. So he's lucky enough that he can, it's a drive, but then he can get home. He's geobatch, so he's not really seeing his family during the week, but like on the weekends and stuff, he's able to drive home. That's, I'm in the continental U.S. I can't just take a weekend drive back to Indiana. That's a bit of a drive from Virginia. It's doable.
It's a little bit of a drive. Yeah,
it's doable, but it's not something you can do when you're OCONUS. So those are definitely things you have to think of. It may be a bit not seeing your family, and it's a personal choice you're gonna have to make. Well, I think we covered unaccompanied orders pretty well. I think what we covered with geobatch a couple weeks ago, the big thing was the differences, and really just being able to get you back on to say hey and see how things were going over there, and really just kind of talk about overseas, because that's, I know I've talked to you about it, and everybody out there knows that the whole point of this season is following us all the way to Spain, which, by the way, I can't really put it out, but I do kind of have specific dates, kind of. Not like official, but it will be this year like we talked about, and we'll continue to do that. We're still going to keep going every 2 weeks. That's strictly just because of material and not wanting to oversaturate and actually making these episodes worth it. But I want to ask you a couple questions before we get off here. You're an AO, so that means that you like things that go boom. And I've been told that every AO has their favorite type of missile and or bomb. What is yours? And most of the time, like you were saying, squadron, this, that, it tends to be, from what I understand, what they've worked on. You know what I mean? Like, you know, because I built it or whatever, you know.
I really like the gun system. And you know, I really like the 20mm gun system. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Now, I will say that this one looks like it has a regular primer. These aren't electric, are they?
No, that is an electric. That
Electric.
is an electric primer.
Yeah. CWiz is as well. So instead of like a firing pin, it's an electric charge. Nice. And then since you've been around squadrons, and you've been around a lot of different aircraft, gotta ask, man, what's your favorite aircraft?
F-18.
That's it? Why you gotta say it like that? It's not. So I gotta take Logan here on base. There's a Tomcat sitting out here. I mean, it's kind of dilapidated, but it's there. So
Tomcat was a really cool aircraft. I'm really glad. You know, when we came in, the Tomcat was on its twilight. You know, when we came in the Navy. You know, but I was fortunate enough. I got to see that thing fly at Oceana for quite a while before it.
They were still flying it.
They were still flying. They were still operational squadrons, so I got to see that, and that was really cool.
Was it F4 Tomcat F-14, right?
F-14, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I know out in Grissom, because me and you sat and talked about it, they have a Phantom setting out there. So that's more that was Vietnam era, right? Was the Phantom.
Yep, that was big in Vietnam.
Those just look cool. I don't know. I think
they are cool airplanes.
So, but yeah, so you F-18, huh? You're not going with the new hotness or anything. F-18 is your favorite. That's it, huh?
I mean, you know, you got to stick with what you know.
There you go.
I haven't had a chance to dabble in the F-35 really a whole lot. So.
Have you? All right, I will ask this then. Before I let you go, you just said it. F-35. You hadn't had a chance to dabble in it. Got that? Have you, because of where you're at and like the things you've got to do, have you been able to like see it at all?
Yeah, I mean, I got to see it when I was on the Lincoln. Actually, when I was on the Lincoln, when we were doing part of our workup cycle, getting ready for their deployment. They actually, when you watch, if you've seen the new Top Gun movie, they actually filmed all the F-35 scenes off the Lincoln.
Yeah, and they say, what is it they say? It's like, because I don't know if you knew this or if you saw the episode, I actually got, you remember our CO, Mr. Singh?
Yeah.
So he got me in touch with one of his pilot buddies. Her call sign's Dragon, and she actually got to fly in the new Maverick movie. She was one of the pilots that was like when they would show the one female pilot. She was the one actually flying.
Oh, that's cool.
Out there, yeah. So she told us on that, I believe. So here's this F-35 that all the, what is it in the movie? They just call them like the Gen 5 fighters, and it's showing the bad guys flying them. It's actually our plane that they're flying in that.
I think they used a lot of CGI when they were doing the enemy planes and stuff, because they were flying the Super Hornet, because it is a 2-seater, and they were, you know, able to have the cameras and everything in an actual naval aviator fly while they filmed and everything like that. So
yeah.
That's why they didn't use the F-35 as like the primary aircraft in the movie, just for certain. You know, when they first started the movie, you know, you saw them flying, but
But they're talking about. I had heard word. I mean, you're gonna come out with like Gen 6 stuff now. So
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in development. It's crazy how fast things go.
be fun. But hey, man, we've been talking for a while, and I really appreciate you coming on. As always,
Yeah, thanks
so
for
you
having
guys
me.
know, I've been keeping in touch with him even with the time difference. That's the hard part, and we really appreciate you being able to come on and making stuff happen, even though you got called back. And I do want you guys to know he was pretty bummed out. I mean, Chief Snyder's been a big advocate for our show, and messaged me about an hour before we were supposed to go on. He's like, "Man, I am so sorry to do this to you, brother, but like, I got recalled for work. I have to go in." And I think he was bummed. I thought there for a minute you were going to tell me like, I'll take a UA. I got to be on the show, man. No, but I appreciate it very much. And as always, always stay in touch. A lot of people out there that have posted and miss you dearly. So, go ahead, man. Give a shout out to your kids, your family before we get off here, because they're all out there watching, and I know they miss you like crazy.
Yeah, shout out to my wife and kids. I love you guys. Everybody that's on, I appreciate you guys jumping on. And tune in for Brad every other Thursday.
Yeah.
Smash that like button.
Yeah, we will be back on Thursday, 2 weeks from yesterday. I'm not sure what we're going to be talking about yet. I've had a really good run of guests and like content, and now I've run out. So I'll figure it out. But hey, man, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Thank you so very much. I will hit you up later. I know what time is it there right now? What's the time difference?
It's about 1:15 in the morning. It is.
Dear Lord.
It's Saturday. It's Saturday here.
Saturday. Yeah, man. I'm going to let you go. Maybe get some sleep. Do whatever it is that you do. I don't know. Probably, I don't know, call your wife, whatever. But all right, man. Well, we'll catch you later. Thank you so very much, Jeremy, and we'll talk to you soon,
Yeah.
okay?
Thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah.
Good talking to you.
Later, man.
Bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in this week. I know a little longer. We got kind of sidetracked, but gosh, I haven't got a chance to talk to Chief Snyder in a while, and he's just out there just doing awesome stuff. And right now, being somewhere that is, kind of hot, things are going on. So we appreciate him, always thinking about him. You can find him on Facebook. I know I've shared it on our page, but it's his AOC page, which it was his recruiting one. I don't think he really uses that anymore. If you know him, you know how to contact him, reach out to him. Great guy. Really appreciate him being on. Again, I want to say thank you so much to our Facebook community. I didn't even realize it. My wife pointed out to me, but we did get over 1,000 follows, or 1,000 followers. So that's great. Keep hitting up the YouTube. We need to get more and more followers there. Keep smashing those like buttons, keep sharing, and hopefully this season, it's going to continue to have great information that's going to help somebody somewhere. So thank you guys so much. Like I said, 2 weeks from yesterday, we will be back on, and so we will be looking at the 21st of March, which is a week before my son and my brother and sister and my mom come out to visit us. And shout out to anybody who has March birthdays. A lot in our family. My dad, I saw that he was on. See you out there, Dad. I love you too. His was on March 1st. My son, Logan, his was yesterday. My father-in-law, Lynn, his is today. And mine is next Tuesday. I'm sure you're all going to get me the same thing you got me last year. But if you wanted to get me anything, hey, just throw some likes on the page, right? Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow the Facebook. That'd be great. I'd love that for my birthday. So anyway, guys, until next time, thank you so very much. Be safe. Have a good one.